Good, excuse me. Oh God, I'm dying. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Britain is being destroyed from within. That's what I'm going to be talking about today. Oh, I think my voice has gone. We are, guys. We are being absolutely destroyed from within. I'm going to be talking and I'm going to be focusing this morning on an article that's out in the. I don't know what that cough's just done, guys, but it totally swizzled me. There's an article out this morning that's headlining, and let me just share the headline with you guys real quick. Two Royal Mail workers stole £750,000 worth from packages and sent dirty cash to Pakistan. Dirty cash, you want me? I think my voice is gone. So before we get onto this article, guys, can you guess? Let's just play a little game. Shall we guess their names? Shall we guess their names? What do you think their names are? I'm going for Tony Pemberton and Kevin Smith. Tony Pemberton and Kevin Smith. They're the names I'm going for. Right, I am going to talk about this later, ladies and gentlemen, and then I'm going to give you guys just a rundown of all the different ways that we are being destroyed. I've covered this in other live streams and I've talked about these things briefly, but I want to give everybody an understanding of the phenomenal amount of ways that we are being destroyed in the United Kingdom. And most of this, what I'm going to talk about is financial destruction, right? It's absolute financial destruction. And then when people wonder, why the taxes are so high, why you don't have any money left at the end of the month, why the prices of everything are going up, it's because all our money is being sent to other countries. A lot of these channels are legal channels as well, and there's like literally nothing you can do about this. As we're going to talk about shortly, the two Royal Mail workers stole £750,000 from packages and sent dirty cash to Pakistan. So I'm going to be talking about all this holistically. And like with all of these articles that I talk about, like with everything, whenever there's one of these crimes, whenever there's one of these gangs, I want to ask you guys the question: have you hit that like button yet? I hope you have. If you're watching later on YouTube, guys, or you're watching in real time, please hit that like button. I got 2 of my videos demonetized yesterday, and it's just an absolute faff. I'm going to leave them. But I talk about things that on this channel that a lot of people won't do, and when I cross over that line, my video gets flagged and I get restricted. So please show your support, guys, in any way you can, namely hitting that like button and the subscribe button if you guys have not done so already. I am going to be jumping back on pretty much straight after this, and I'm going to do another video straight away about this, the ticks in America. I'm going to do a standalone video literally straight after this, but that whole sphere is crazy. When I first heard about it, I thought it was a wild conspiracy, right? I love listening to Alex Jones like everyone else, and he comes out and he's got all this bluster and he's just saying wild shit. But there's a lot of evidence now, a lot of anecdotal evidence about the ticks in the United States being a legit thing. But I'm not going to talk about that now. I'm going to come literally straight back on and talk about that because that deserves its own live stream. So, ladies and gentlemen, picture this, if you will. 2 agency workers at Royal Mail sorting office in Glasgow. Glasgow. Are now facing serious charges. Right. Did you guys guess what their names were? Mehdi Raza, who's 38, and Zafran Mahmoud. I don't know if he's related to Shabina or not, who's 34. Stand accused of stealing £750,000 in cash and foreign currency, along with mobile phones from special delivery parcels between January 23rd and September 2020. Sorry, January 23. Sorry, not 23rd, January 2023, and September 2024. That's nearly 2 years of alleged theft from one of Britain's most secure postal services. Now, I've talked about this many times. I've talked about infiltration, right? Infiltration into our industry. Like, a British person just wouldn't do that. Like, a British person would not do that. And I mean like a real British person. Yes, there are criminals in Britain, but I think there's like... I don't think people... I'm pretty convinced that people don't... I want to believe that there's a certain type of people who think, do you know what? I'm not going to steal that mobile phone because guess what? That might be somebody's birthday present. That might be somebody's Christmas present. That might be a mum and dad who've had to save up for that for their kid. I wouldn't steal that, not a chance. But it turns out, ladies and gentlemen, there are at least 2 people, Mehdi Raza and Zafran Mahmoud, who stand accused stealing of £750,000 in cash and foreign currency. That is a phenomenal amount of money, right? And if they get found guilty, they'll probably have to pay back like £6 or something. Even more striking, prosecutors claim the pair didn't just steal the money, they allegedly laundered it. They're accused of transferring large sums between themselves and repeatedly sending money out of the country to Pakistan. When questioned by Barclays Bank, they said to have invented stories about selling property and cars in Pakistan at inflated prices to explain where the cash had come from. Police also alleged they found over £159,000 in criminal property at Raza's home in Newton Mearns. Both have pleaded not guilty. The case continues in Glasgow, in the Glasgow courts next month. Now, if you live in the United Kingdom, the bigger question, I think, you know, I don't think, I know this is the bigger question. You see, this is what people do, right? They will, for example, right? And look, guys, this is total wild conspiracy now. I don't know if this is happening. This is absolute for entertainment purposes, right? I have no idea that this is happening in this particular case, right? But, for example, let's just say that, you know, allegedly, Mehdi Raza and Zafran Mahmoud, they send a load of money to Pakistan, right? Via whatever means, I don't know, MoneyGram or whatever, right? To a Pakistani bank account, right? Then that Pakistani bank account then sends them money back. And they then open up a barber shop and they say, right, okay, we're going to open up a barber shop. And then the rest of the cash that they're stealing, they can say that they're earning that now through that barber shop. Because, you know, when you go to a barber shop, people pay cash and, you know, you can say, oh, yeah, this barbershop. And I'm absolutely not saying this is happening, guys. I am 100% not saying this is happening. What I'm saying is it could happen. Think about other places like car washers, right? Like a car wash. Very difficult. Your overheads on a car wash are virtually zero. You know, your car wash is earning this much money because, you know, do you know what, actually, I'm not even making this up. If any of you guys drive to, if any of you guys live near Sheffield, right? If you drive to Meadowhall, depending on which way you drive to Meadowhall in Sheffield, you will drive past a car wash. I'm not making this up, guys. So it's a car wash, it's a barber shop, and it's also a vape shop. I'm not making that up, guys. There's like, it's an old garage, petrol station, and you drive in there. You can literally drive in there, get your car washed, have a haircut, and buy a vape. Literally in the same compound. It's phenomenal. Now, the reason why, you know, the reason why these things are not getting turned over, people, you know, if they are criminal, and I'm not saying they are criminal, I'm just saying we don't know, right? If these places are, you know, laundering money for whatever criminal networks, it becomes very time consuming to do that. And what you're going to get back from that, it's very difficult to prove that you didn't take that much cash. It's very difficult to prove that. So what happens is the government, the tax companies, right? What they do is when they're trying to claw this money back for income tax, for example, what they do is they go to the bigger companies and they say, you know, the medium-sized companies, the ones that are legitimate, and they just absolutely destroy them with red tape. I want to see this. I want to see that. I want to see this. I want to see that. And they weaponize it against those companies. And because they're legitimate and everything's written down and they're not dealing with cash, I don't deal with cash, guys. You know, when I work, when I do, you know, when I do work, it all there's no way I can't hide money. I don't get cash. I don't get paid in cash. You know, I get paid international transfers and I get absolutely destroyed by the transfer fees, by bank fees. And it's very easy to audit me because all that transaction, all those reports are there. When you're dealing with cash, very difficult. So now you're going to send an investigator to investigate a, you know, a hairdressers, a Turkish barbers, and you're going to get it's going to be very difficult. And what are you going to realistically get back from that? 10 quid? It's not going to work. It's virtually impossible. So here's the bigger picture, right? That I always ask, and you guys know what bigger picture's coming, the bigger question that's coming. This is the question I'm going to ask to you guys, all right? Is this the only incident where stolen money from the United Kingdom or from even from the postal system, you know, is being sent out of the country? Or do you think this is happening elsewhere? Now, Royal Mail's faced parcel theft problems for a long time, right? But cases involving hundreds of thousands of pounds in cash being systematically siphoned off, wired abroad, I don't think that's as common. I'm pretty sure it's not. This may be the first, well, this may be the first, and this may be the only case. We don't know, right? Or as far as least as commonly reported. This one stands out because the sheer scale, the length and time it was alleged to go on. You know, and we keep seeing these, you know, we keep seeing these countries, right? This is alleged, this money is alleged to be sent to Pakistan. So the question, you know, is this an isolated case of opportunist agency workers, or does this point to something deeper in the United Kingdom? Does it point to how, you know, how we are employing people and how those people are just destroying our infrastructure, they're destroying our institutions, and they're destroying our country from within. And not only are they destroying our country, I would say we are paying them to destroy our country as well. Guys, listen, I'm dying for the toilet. I need to go for a wee. I can't hold it any longer. When I come back, I'm going to jump onto the chat and then I'm going to give you guys more ways that the United Kingdom is being absolutely destroyed. And I've just seen flash up as well on the screen. There's been a triple stabbing in Manchester. So I'll have a look at that as well as soon as I get back. But give me 2 seconds, guys. I need to go to the toilet. Hit that like button while I'm at the toilet. Hey everyone, thank you for hanging around. Right, let me jump over here, guys, because I've just seen a news article flash up about a triple stabbing in Manchester. Right, where's that? There we are. 3 men arrested after not triple stabbing. Sorry, guys. I've got it now. 3 men arrested. 3 men arrested after stabbing in Piccadilly Gardens. This has just jumped up, guys. So let me open this for you guys. 3 men arrested 1 hour ago. 3 men arrested after stabbing Piccadilly Gardens. Right, let me have a look at this. I'm literally getting this in real time, guys. Greater Manchester Police arrive. 3 men have been arrested following a stabbing in Piccadilly Gardens last night. Greater Manchester police officers arrived at the scene at around 9:45 p.m. Responding to reports of a fight. The force said a man in his 20s was found at the scenes with, the a punctured man. I'm just going to leave it there. A punctured man. Another man was in his 50s, found nearby, also he'd been punctured. Oh, so it was a triple stab. When I get news notifications come up on my computer, and sometimes I just miss them. So it had been a triple. It had been a triply. So a man in his 20s, a man in his 50s, Jesus, and another man in his 20s, all met. Right, okay, so all 3 men have been arrested on suspicion of a fray. No names have been released yet, but I can pretty much visualize what these people look like. Right, I may come back onto that later, guys. That was just something that jumped out. Right, I'm going to jump onto the chat. Good morning, everyone. And if you guys have not noticed, I do have a hoarse voice. Phil 101 is Philic is just 101 is saying, just to get thoughts, I don't keep my money in the bank. If I need to make a payment, I'd use my credit card, but pay it every month on payday. I withdraw my cash. Digital Anarchy is saying Charlie Veach's, does he live near there? I thought he was Scottish. Lissu is saying, my son is a barber. They've destroyed the industry. There's no shops to buy or rent because all these dodgy barbers are everywhere. Right, listen, guys, I don't know if the barbers are dodgy. I don't go to a Turkish barber. I go to what's her name? I don't know. I can't remember. I don't even know what it's called. I've gone there like 20 years, right? I don't have my hair cut that often. Now, I'm going to talk in a second about, I think I'm going to use this actually. I'm going to talk a little bit about, so we've been talking now, we've just been talking about the how Britain is being destroyed. Now, there are so many ways to, there are so many different aspects here. Obviously, this is the one that's out at the moment. 2 Royal Mail workers are being charged with stealing £750,000 in cash and foreign currency. Now, obviously, I don't think this is an isolated incident. I think although I've got no I've got no inside information whether this is an isolated incident or not. I can only assume that it's not. But if you think about all the other ways that we are sending our money overseas, right? When I say that Britain sends a phenomenal amount of money overseas, people's natural go-to is foreign aid, international aid, right? Where we spend billions every year that we can't afford, that we absolutely cannot afford. So we're sending all that money overseas, right? We don't get anything back from that. That's the first thing, right? The second thing is, obviously these are not in order. The second thing is international investment. Now, you guys know I've harped on about this all the time. Every time you hear someone say, we have international investment, what that means is what that really means is, in real terms, is that money is leaving the country. And so every time Rachel Reeves comes up and she says, this government has, secured 5 billion in international investment, what that means is there will be 1 billion a year leaving the country in foreign profits, and that will be going to another country, right? So after the initial 5 years, you want a return, right? So that's another way. We know that Crew Council was infiltrated by the Ramadi Religion of Peace and Light, because they had one of their guys get a job at Crew Council as a health inspector or whatever, and then he'd infiltrated the council. Now, I would speculate that these levels of infiltration in the United Kingdom are, these levels of infiltration are phenomenal. So think about this on a council level, right? Think about this on a council. This happened in, where I used to live in Rotherham, there was a piece of land. Right, there was a piece of land that belonged. It was like gifted by an earl, like, I don't know, years ago. Right. Let me try and find this. Do you know, I can't. I'm not going to be able to find it. So there was a piece of land, right, gifted to the community, right, by an earl. Like years ago, it was a gift. Right. They said, like, right, build a leisure centre or a park or something. Turns out the council sold that piece of land by mistake for like peanuts. And guess what? That went to an overseas developer. That overseas developer put houses on it. And guess what? Those houses are now housing foreign people who are now claiming welfare, who the taxpayer are funding. So can you guys see how that's another scam? And at every level of our infrastructure, we have been infiltrated. It comes out. Birmingham Council is another good one, right? These things are legal, right? These things are 100% legal, above board, and you can't do anything about it. Nothing. You infiltrate a council, you get your guy into a position where he or she can hand out contracts, and you tell them, right, when I bid for this contract, I want to win that contract. So then that money then goes to another company, private company, totally legitimate in the United Kingdom, but then that profit gets sent to another country, and that is totally legal. There is nothing wrong with that. That is 100% legal within our system. So now, and this is why towns turn into a shithole, right? Because then they say, oh, well, hang on a minute. We need more money for this council. We've run out of money. And then the rest of the country have to fund it. So when you pay local business, when you pay local tradesmen, when you pay smaller businesses, they keep that money in your community. If they want an extension building on their house or something, they will employ local builders. They will then get paid. That money will get spent on local shops, kids' uniforms. Maybe they will sponsor a local football team or something. And all the time here in the United Kingdom, we are just being, we are being pillaged. We are being absolutely pillaged, guys. It's phenomenal. It's absolutely phenomenal, and it's not sustainable. At some point, it's going to implode, and I think we are a lot closer than we are. I think we're a lot closer to imploding than people understand. Right, let me jump and get some of these let me jump onto the chat, guys. Capricorn Moon is saying all across the nation. I'm assuming Capricorn Moon is meaning The absolute pillage of the United Kingdom. Santi Todd is saying, I'm a long hair. Well, I don't know what we're talking about here. Oh, are we all talking about haircuts? We're all talking about haircuts. Right. Has anyone look? Listen, guys. I've been to the Middle. I've lived in the Middle East, right? And there is something so gay about like. There's something so gay about this thing, right? When I used to go to the Middle East, like when I used to live in the Middle East, in Baghdad, there's one barber's in Baghdad, in the green zone in Baghdad, which is like the international zone. It's got big, like 20-foot walls, concrete walls all the way around it. That's where I used to live. And when I was there was one barber's, right? It was like, I don't know, it was like $5 or something. When you go to that barber's, right, it just takes forever, and they're not doing anything. They're just touching your head, and it's totally like it's borderline uncomfortable. Well, it is uncomfortable. But the locals, they love it. They sit there for hours, and they'll look at themselves and they'll go, and then they'll do this. It's just ridiculous. I don't like having my hair touched. But this is the same now in the United Kingdom, and you see these people sat there, just literally sat there forever, and it's quite bonkers. It's bonkers. Lorazza for Trump is saying, no wonder there was concern when POTUS said the USA would take over shipping insurance. Yeah, okay, so with the shipping insurance, I don't think that's going to happen. I don't think that's going to happen. The premiums will be too big. Linda Lewis said you could be talking about my town, Sean. All our land that's been sold was given to residents of the town by a lord. We protested. They went ahead anyway, very cheaply. Yeah, it's crazy. So, look, Linda Lou, I would suspect, and I've got I don't have any other evidence for this than anecdotally. There was a patch of land where I live, and it was given to the town as like a gift. I can't remember who it was. There's like a lord, like Linda Lou was saying here, and that patch of land was given to the community as a gift, and he said, right, that belongs to the people, right? That belongs to the people. And there was an accident. A document was signed, a clerical error, and that patch of land got sold to a developer, a foreign developer. That foreign developer developed, this was like a couple of years ago. That foreign developer built houses. Those houses are then rented out to people on low income and paid for by the taxpayers. So it's just a shithole now. And this is why I keep, and I know how these things work, right? Remember how I've told you guys how allegedly for entertainment purpose, the scam works, whereby, right, we're going to sell off some allotments, right? We've got some allotment space, and we're going to sell it off. What we're going to do is we're going to make it so difficult for anyone to turn up to the auction. Only one person's going to turn up to the auction, and guess what? They're going to pay whatever they want for that now, right? And then it gets to, sorry, it's a clerical error. We're not going to do that again. But by the time that's happened, that land's gone. That land's gone. It's been sold. There's a little bit of a scandal in the local press, right? There's a little bit of a scandal in the local press, and they give it a little bit of time for, like, I don't know, 2 articles, and they say, oh, council incompetence, sells off prime land for £1 to international developer. And then the council come out, they make a statement, they say, yes, this was a clerical error. Lessons have been learned. The system is being updated, and this will not happen again. I would speculate that person who made that clerical error had a nice little backhander, right? They had a nice little backhander because there's no, it's a big incentive, right? You know, if an international developer, or do you know what? Maybe it's one of those subverted people, right? Maybe it's Lars Fredriksson, right? Lars Fredriksson. Lars Fredriksson, right? Imagine Lars Fredriksson, right? The Norwegian fisherman. We love the Norwegian fisherman. He's been sent in to, Lars Fredriksson's been sent in to, go on. I don't know, wherever you live, Linda Lou, right? Wherever you live, Linda Lou. In Ireland, let's say it's Belfast. I don't know. Let's say it's Belfast Council, right? So Lars Fredriksson now has been sent into Belfast Council as a sleeper cell, right? And he's told, right, Lars, I want you to make your way up Belfast Council, and I want you to get a job at doing procurement or contracts, right? And then Lars phones his handler up and he says, hello, mate. Yeah, we've got some land that's been sold. Do X, Y, and Z, and I'll make sure you're the only person on the auction. And then he gets sold, and then that's it. And all of this, we're giving this stuff away. Right, I'm just jumping to the bottom, guys. There's quite a lot of comments on the chat, so I do. Oh, David King is saying my comments were censored. I don't have any words on the censor, guys. I don't have any words on the censor, so the YouTube algorithm will censor. Rod Panhard is saying nobody's. Yeah, it's too for. No, look, guys, I said this for a long time. Nobody, right? Nobody is going to insure. Right. Remember, right when the Iran conflict started, right? Right when this Iran conflict started, I said to you guys straight away. I said that shipping lane is closed because the insurance companies are not going to insure those ships, right? And look, everybody wants to think about guns and bombs and, you know, airstrikes. But the reality is, if those oil tankers don't have insurance, they're not going to sail. You know, it's not like nipping to the shop, or it's not like driving for your MOT. You know, when those things go wrong, they go wrong huge, right? And that nobody in their right mind is going to take that risk. The premiums would be too high. So ultimately, the only way, so Donald Trump understands this, right? The United States understand this, and they understand they need to get shipping moving through the Strait of Hormuz. The only way they're going to do that is by an insurance company insuring those vessels, right? That's not going to happen, right? That's not going to happen. So that was Donald Trump's first try to stop boots on the ground in Iran. Now, the only way to secure the Strait of Hormuz, there's two ways, right? One, the Iranians have to agree to it, right? The whole of Iran has to agree to it. Never going to happen. Not a dilly dance, guys. Not a dilly dance. That's going to happen. If any of you guys, you know, the Iranian military is not like a Western military where you get like, I don't know, a colonel or like a brigadier or whatever at the top. They give a message, that message is disseminated down, and everybody, you know, and everybody abides by that message. It doesn't work like that. You will have regional commanders who will be doing their own shit, right? That's how it works. So there will be regional commanders now doing their own stuff. And think about, I threw coffee over it. Where is it? I need to get some more pictures. Think about the fixed wing drones, right? The Shahed drones. Anyone with a truck and a double garage, they are now a Shahed drone factory and launch capability. So anyone basically can now attack these vessels going past the Strait of Hormuz. So it's absolutely absurd to think that you can solve this problem in the Middle East without putting boots on the ground. I don't think the United States will lead, but I do think it's going to happen at some point. Exorcism Al Golem is saying, is that Exorcism AI Golem? I don't know if it's Al or AI. But Exorcism Golem 96 is saying, the World Economic Forum, Klaus Schwab, you will own nothing and be happy. Look, I'm going to jump back on literally straight after this, and I'm going to talk about the crazy ticks in the United States, because that whole conspiracy, right? It's just out of control. It is absolutely out of control, and it's not even being hidden. It's out there for everyone to see, right? Silly is saying, I remember when reading about Brexit, one of the main arguments against was the fact that London was Europe's main banking city. Yes, if you go to London, right? If you go to London, especially the city of London, so you're talking about Westminster, Knightsbridge, it's really cosmopolitan. You know, it's really cosmopolitan. There's a lot of money. If you go outside of that little microcosm, and I guess outside of London itself, Britain, like the cities in, like the other cities in Britain, Birmingham, Manchester, Sheffield, I guess, they have turned into they are decaying. They're absolutely decaying. They're decaying because of the reasons I'm setting out in this live stream. We are being destroyed from within. All our money is being not illegal. A lot of these methods are not illegal either. But the mechanism for destroying the country, a lot of these mechanisms are quite legal, right? There's no laws being broke. Someone is going to develop a counter to drones. It's a slow speed, easy target. Still, it hasn't been done. It makes me wonder why. There isn't one. There isn't a solution to drones. Only other drones, right? So the two main types of drones, we're talking about here is like the little quadcoptery ones, right? The little, and then you've got the fixed wing, longer range ones, which are more like a cruise missile. So both come with their, flight characteristics and differences in scope. So your little quadcopters. They're a lot smaller. They carry a very small payload, but they are relatively accurate, right? They're accurate. Well, you can use them up to about 20 kilometers. Now, they've been used very successfully in Ukraine, and there really isn't a solution to them. There is not a financially viable solution. So what that means is, yes, you can send up a missile that's worth like, you can send a Patriot missile to take out a drone, like a 50 grand drone. You can absolutely do that. And that Patriot missile will take it down. But then that Patriot missile costs like 1.5 million. And that's not feasible, right? And then you've got the bigger fixed wing drones. They're the ones that are going to threaten the Strait of Hormuz. With those fixed wing drones, there really isn't anything because they send them in swarms. and the swarms overwhelm the air defense. So there really isn't anything on the market at the moment that can defend against them. It's like why there's no defense against artillery, right? If the artillery is coming down, it's just coming down. That's it. Almacho is saying there was a Welsh church converted into a mosque. It was a listed building, but that didn't stop them destroying it. Right, I'm jumping down to the bottom. Phil is saying, I'm really shocked people don't keep cash. From the Barclays went down, where caught out with no money 5 days, I've kept cash out of the bank. I think it's just easier, right? It's just easier to have it on your card, right? And I understand, it shouldn't be Yeah, I'm going to do another live stream on data centers later on, guys. I'm going to do a little another live stream on data centers. James Templar is saying, Sean, Daily Express, Russia to supply the UK with aviation fuel. Yeah, I've seen this. They're restricting the sanctions, right? So it turns out we do need oil. So it turns out we will pay the people we're at war with for oil. Can you imagine what a situation this is going to right now? We're going to probably be at war with Russia soon. Like, are the Russians going to supply us with diesel for our tanks as well? This is not a good thing, because we will then get dependent on Russian aviation fuel, and then the Russians will just turn it off. They will say, okay, you want to go war? We turn off your diesel. Now you have no diesel or heavy oil for shipping. Running Bear is saying, good morning, all right. Good morning, all right. Listen, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to turn you guys off who are watching on X. I'm then going to run through what we were talking about, and I'm going to give you guys some more context on the 3 men that have been arrested after this triple puncturing in Piccadilly Gardens. So if you guys are watching on X, I'm going to turn you guys off, and then I will just be streaming over on YouTube. Hang on. Right, you guys on X, you go in, you're fantastic, you're beautiful, and you're amazing, but I'm going to turn you off. Please jump over to YouTube, and if not, I'll see you on the next live stream. Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, we've been talking this morning about how Britain is being absolutely destroyed from within. There's an article out this morning. There's an article out this morning, and it's headlining that two Royal Mail workers have been accused. Hang on. 2 Royal Mail workers stole £750,000 from packages and sent to Pakistan. Every day we wake up, right, and we have this same, direction of travel, right? If you are a British citizen and you work in this country and you've paid tax and you do the right thing, you are being absolutely destroyed from within. If you are, and I'm going to say that these people had links to Pakistan, right? Because they're sending money to Pakistan. Does anyone think that's like unreasonable for me to say, right? That what are their names again? Mehdi Raza and Zafran Mahmood I'm going to speculate that they had links to Pakistan because they were sending allegedly money to Pakistan, right? So I think that's a fair. I don't think I'm being, unfair by assuming that. So you're waking up every morning, you're going to work to pay your taxes, and all the time there are people in this country just sucking you dry, literally sucking you dry. Now, can you imagine, like, the depths? So these two men are accused of stealing £750,000 in UK cash and foreign currency, along with mobile phones and other special deliveries, from January 2023 to September 2024. So like almost 2 years. It's then claimed they didn't just steal the money, they allegedly laundered it. They're accused of sending sums between themselves and repeatedly sending money out of the United Kingdom to Pakistan. When questioned, they said they invented stories about selling property and cars in Pakistan, and that's how that money came back. Now, like I said at the beginning of this live stream, I'm going to ask you guys this question. Do you think that our own money could be used, like your own money in taxes has been stolen and then repurposed back in the United Kingdom to destroy you? What a fantastic weapon of war. What an absolutely fantastic weapon of war. The IRGC in Iran, which is the, I don't know whether it's like the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps or the Iranian Revolutionary Guard Corps. I can't remember which one it is. But the IRGC, half of their budget, in fact, actually, I think all of their budget, half of the Iranian military budget, right? A full 50% of their military budget goes into asymmetric warfare. Now, asymmetric warfare is infiltrating people, right? So let me Google this. What is Iran's, what was it, I guess? What is Iran's military budget? Okay, so I'm just jumping up. Right, guys, I'm going to this is what AI is telling me, okay? Iran's official military spending is estimated to be around 10 to 15 billion annually. However, the exact figures remain obscure. The government frequently supplements its published okay, right, so we don't know. Let's say 10 billion, right? Let's just say it's 10 billion, right? So we know that half of Iran's, and I'm just talking about Iran now. This could be other countries as well. So Iran spends half of their military budget on asymmetric warfare. Do you know what? Let me Google this as well. How much does Iran spend on asymmetric warfare? Right. Okay. I can't find the article I was thinking about, but I'm confident that I've read an article at some point somewhere. I read it for entertainment purposes, allegedly, reportedly. I've read an article that says that the Iranians spend half of their military defense budget on asymmetric warfare, right? So that means that they spend at least 5 billion on asymmetric warfare, right? At least 5 billion a year on asymmetric warfare. Now, if you consider how much it would cost to sponsor one sleeper cell in the United Kingdom, right? So you get a guy, I don't know, whatever his name is, he's just left university, he's a friend of the family, he's a trusted guy in the Iranian regime. You say, right, listen, mate, do you want to leave? I've got a cushy job for you. Why don't you move to the United Kingdom, right? I will sponsor you. I mean, it's going to be a lot more than this, but I will give you £1,000 a month, right? And what I want you to do, this will be like a low level guy. I'm going to give you £1,000 a month, £2,000 a month in this account, right? What I want you to do is I want you to then move to insert council of choice here, Birmingham Council, Sheffield Council, whatever. Sorry, that region. And I want you to get a job in the council. I then want you to get a job. I then want you to work your way up. And whenever a contract comes, whenever a piece of land's to be sold, we're going to get that. And then we're going to start making money, right? And then we're going to use that profit then to fund either further sleeper cells or other systems. And nobody understands that. Well, some people understand this in the UK, but it's very difficult to identify. And this is why I keep saying my solution to all of this is get foreign people out. There is no position of authority, and I don't mean this like negatively. I mean this as the only option, right? If you're looking at, I don't know, if you've got if you've got weeds growing in the garden, right? And you can't quite get to the weeds, but you've got some nice flowers growing out, right? You have to take the whole thing down, right? You do. You have to take the whole thing down. It's like a cancer. Sometimes you have to cut it out. And with that, you will take some of the good stuff. It's like a rot, a cancer. You have to take the nuclear option. And unfortunately, this is never going to happen. So when I give you guys my predictions and I tell you guys why things are getting worse, and you get, you get people saying, no, we're going to do this, we're going to do that. I think you don't really understand the depths of subversion and infiltration that we have in the United Kingdom. You don't understand the depths of how we're being how we are being destroyed from within. These problems are not going to go away because there is no way, there is absolutely zero way, right, that somebody is going to say, yep, I am going to sack everybody who's either first, second, third, or fourth generation migrants. I'm going to sack them all. Any first, second, third, or fourth generations, you can't own a limited company in the United Kingdom. You're not allowed that. Any international investment, finance, banking, loans, we're going to get rid of you. We are going to get rid of you, right? Nobody's ever going to do that. So it's just not going to happen. And I know we can say, we can vote for Farage or we can vote for Rupert Lowe. It's just not going to happen, guys. You need to be realistic. So what's coming is the inevitable. I don't know if you guys have seen my video I did yesterday. I did a video yesterday and I was talking about how I would take control of Cleethorpes and Grimsby, militarize it, and build an economy there. And the more I thought about that, the more I was like, why are we poor? The more I was thinking about it, I was like, right, why are we poor? There is no reason for people in the United Kingdom to be poor. But there is, because we give all our money to other people and then they send it out of the country. And when I did the microcosm of, it was a microcosm. When I did I did like a small, have I still got this up here? Hang on. I think I may still have this up there. Hang on. Is it there? That's not it. hang on. No. So I did I did a cost analysis, right? I was thinking about how I would, I was thinking about how I would fund, what industry you could build, because obviously you need finances, right? And when I did the maths, and when I started to work out, like, for a settlement, a town of like 100,000 people, if you have a town of 100,000 people or a small settlement, and they're all working and they're all producing, they are 100% self-sufficient. Not only are they self-sufficient, but they're going to be rich, right? They're going to be rich. So it was kind of like a hammer, because I'm thinking now, right? Why are we not rich in the UK? Why are we not rich? We should be rich. Why are we looking at fuel shortages? Why are we looking at food shortages? It's because all our money, not all of it, obviously, a lot of our money is being sent out of the country. And when that goes out of the country, it's not moving, right? It's not moving in your local town. And this keeps happening, and it's not getting any better. And every time you see the government come up there, it just you guys need to understand that international investment is international wealth extraction. Caveman is saying the biggest problem I hear is certain schools have no Bibles to offer, but they do have a Quran. Yeah, I mean, these places are already cooked. These places are already cooked, guys. And this is why I keep saying, we need to, people need to accept defeat and just say, listen, some towns are already gone. Old School Pete is saying, I watched the thing the other day. They claim the UK is also a sole tribe of Judah. Don't say that. Does that mean, I don't know what that means. Does that mean British people are a tribe or a Jewish tribe? Is that what that means? I think that's what that means. Yeah, listen, Exorcism Golem is saying the government we see is not the real government. No, I agree. I absolutely agree. And this is what I keep saying. Oh, excuse me. This is what I keep saying. We keep voting for a new government, but it's the system that's broken, right? It's the system. So it's like every 4 years, we go to the garage with our broken car, the engine warning lights on, the oil lights on, all the red lights are on the dash, right? You go into the garage every 4 years and you say, right, get me a new set of tires. You're like, what? Like, it's the system that's broken. Rod Panhard is saying velocity of money going out of this country stops this dead. Philip is saying, yes, Sean, British Israel. Hang on a minute. Let me Google this. I don't know if this is true. Right, I'm just going to share this from AI. Is Britain a tribe of Israel? No, Britain is not a tribe of Israel. The idea stems from from pseudo-historical 19th century belief known as British Israelism. This fringe theory claims that the Anglo-Saxon peoples of Western Europe and the British Isles are direct descendants of the 10 lost tribes of ancient Israel. However, this theory is rejected by mainstream historians, geneticists, and theologians. Modern research, including DNA evidence and linguistics, show that the British population is descended from various indigenous Celtic, Germanic, and Norse groups. The claim relies on a discredited word associations claiming Saxon derives from Isaac's son. All right, you know what, I can see how that would fall in, rather than actual historical archaeological evidence. So no. According to the internet, Britain is not a part of Israel. Right, listen, ladies and gentlemen, I am going to close this down, but I'm literally going to be straight back on, and I'm going to be talking about the ticks. I'm going to be talking about the ticks in America, because this story is absolutely insane. So for those of you guys who don't know, I'll quickly, there was a wild conspiracy theory. There was a wild conspiracy theory like months ago that in the United States, they're releasing these ticks. And when you get bit by a tick, it makes you allergic to red meat. I was like, yeah, that's BS. I was like, that is red meat and bread. I was like, I think it is anyway. I was like, yeah, that's absolute BS. Turns out, guys, there's quite a few videos being released that's saying, no, that is not BS and that might be real. So I am gonna jump on that, guys, straight away, and I'm gonna give you guys an update on that because it is absolutely bonkers. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, if you're not going to be back on for the next live stream, I'll be putting quite a few on today as well, shorter format videos. But if you guys are not going to be on for the next live stream, I'll be back on at 8 tonight, ladies and gentlemen, and I will bid you guys good morning. I'll see you later.